Hello and welcome back to the most dangerous podcast. My name's James, and hello, Fraser. How are you?
Same as it was 10 minutes ago, James.
Yeah, we had a bit of an issue there, didn't we? I don't know what
Yeah.
happened.
You'll have to sound surprised when I tell you my story again.
Yeah, okay. Just for the
I'm good,
listeners,
yeah.
we did record this about 10 minutes ago, and it all just went to shit for some reason. But we'll do it again. Fraser, how's your week been?
My week's, would you believe I'm tired?
No way.
So, yeah, I'll try and keep it short this time. No, I went to a cheerleading competition. We mentioned that last week. That was one of
Yes,
the
we did.
reasons we basically jibbed off last week's episode because you looked at me and said, "You look knackered, you don't look invested in this, so let's not do it."
Yeah.
And so that was the Thursday night. The Friday night, after Laura finished work, we all got in the car to drive to Doncaster, about a 2-hour, 45-minute drive away.
Please tell me what happened next.
So would you believe we were just 5 minutes outside of Doncaster and Laura went, I forgot the wristbands. Now, these wristbands are really important to get into the cheerleading competition. Even the people competing need their special competitors' wristbands to get in.
Yeah.
So basically, you're fucked without them. So I had to help Laura get the younger kids to bed. And basically, about 11 o'clock, I had to get in the car and drive all the way back to Ellesmere Port, 2.5 hours,
Bloody
get the
hell.
wristbands, have a cup of tea, and drive all the way back to Doncaster. And I
So
got
that's
there
like a 4 or 5 hour round trip then.
5-hour round trip. Yeah, after a 2.5-hour trip in the first place. So
Whose responsibility was it to mind those wristbands?
well, we've never discussed that. It's not been mentioned.
Yeah, surprise, it's not been mentioned since.
It was.
I'm guessing because it's not been mentioned, it wasn't yours.
It wasn't my responsibility, but the only reason I wasn't, I didn't have a go at Laura was because she had been a long day in work, and obviously,
Yeah,
just forgot them. So
love is blind. Love is blind.
I know. But
so I woke up in a really bad mood this morning. Yeah. So I was like fast asleep, and I was having this dream, right? And it was like dreams are really kind of random, and you don't really kind of remember all of it.
Yeah.
But I remember like this really specific bit where like it was me, my mates. I think you were there, and like we were in this like log cabin. There's a couple of other people that we know and love and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all having a good time. And then the door burst open, and some other people. I don't know exactly who it was because it was a dream. But I remember them like coming in with like loads of beers and like women and stuff like that. And they were like, "Yeah, we're here now. Let's get this party started." And then I woke up, and I just like honestly, like I just before my alarm as well. My alarm didn't even wake me up. It was just like, oh no. So like that just put me in like such a foul mood in the morning. I was like, I was just about to have a party dream, and now I'm awake and it's work. So
there must be someone on a much higher salary than me that could explain why you always wake up at the best bit of the dream.
Yeah, I was just about to get on it, in my dream, like full on. We were just about to have an absolutely wicked time in this log cabin in the middle of nowhere, which I don't know where it was, but I think it was snow, so it was somewhere north. And then, so that put me in a bad mood all day.
Yeah. I wonder if the brain just gets so stimulated enjoying the dream that you wake up.
Yeah, oh no, you're not allowed this fun.
Yeah, it's crap, isn't it? I always remember the one as a kid where you woke up and realised all the stuff you dreamt you had wasn't there.
Yeah, I remember that as well, yeah.
Devastating.
Yeah, that's like quite vivid actually. Like you'd have like all this like brilliant, like you'd have like I had a Mega Drive, but all other things like a dead good bike or whatever. And then you wake up and be like, oh no, it was just a dream.
I remember Laura was miserable all day one day. Fucking quite off with me. Would you like a cup of tea? No, I'll make my own fucking cup of tea. What's the matter with you? I dreamt you cheated on me last night.
Yeah, that's quite a common one actually. I think I've heard that before. Like partners like you said something to this woman in my dream.
Yeah, but I didn't though.
Yeah.
Getting a fucking hard time.
Yeah. So I'm in a bad mood today, just purely because of that. I also this week I turned into a grumpy old man.
Yeah,
officially, because I shouted at some children for playing football.
You text me about this. I've been dying to hear the story.
Yeah, right. Okay. No, I'm in the right here. Now,
Right,
I will die on this hill. I am in the right. So where I live in like a row of townhouses. There's about 10 on one side.
Mm-hmm.
There's 10 on the other. We've each got about a 10 foot by 10 foot square bit of grass in front of our houses.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a path, sort of a sort of small path, and then between that, in the middle of that, there is like a green area, that spans across the width of the 10 houses on each side. Right,
sounds like a football pitch.
Yeah, but it's not. This is the fucking point, right? It's not a football pitch. So we were sat out there on last weekend. We had some really nice weather, so we decided as a family we'll sit on our little bit of grass and just have a bit of a sit out and enjoy the weather. Maybe have a glass of wine or whatever. And there's a family a couple of doors down who've got like 100 children or something. I think it's about 4. They've got four lads.
So less than me then.
Yeah, actually, yeah. But I mean, they come out and play football. I don't mind them playing football. I'm not a fucking ogre. Like, I'm happy for them to play football. They can do that. But they set the net up right outside our house, so they were blasting the ball. Like, one of them's like 14 or something. So he was, and he was like kitted up, full kit wanker, like,
full kit. Jesus.
Yeah. So he had his like boots on and everything. So they're all playing football around, and I said to him, "Look, lads, like, we're just sitting out here with. Can you just pack it in?" The ball came over. It hit one of my daughters on the head. I was like, "Lads, like, come on, like, seriously, can you move the net to like the other side so you're not kicking it directly sort of our way?" So I like literally like picked up the net and moved it.
Really?
And then he went in and grasped on me to his mum.
Fucking hell.
And then he came back out, and then he'd see clearly, like, this lad, he was like about 14. You clearly seen his ass because he was like absolutely blasting the ball, like, like kicking it as hard as he could.
At yours?
No, like at the net. So the net was kind of like sort of on the green, but he was like he's shit, so he kept missing. so he kept coming over to us, and then he did it, and then it hit my daughter again.
Shit.
And what happened was that he booted it, and then this other sort of younger lad sort of booted it, and then it sort of hit my daughter. And he run over and grabbed the ball, and I said to him, "Listen, lad, can you just not do it here? Can you just go over there?" And he said to me, "Oh, well, I didn't kick it. He kicked it." So I said, "I don't give a fuck who kicked it. Just go and kick it over there. There's loads of room." So he went in and grasped on me to his mum. So his mum came marching down the path.
Yeah.
And she started to have a go at me, saying, "Oh, you shouldn't be swearing at my kids." And I said, "Well, I didn't swear at your kids. It's like a passive thing. I didn't actually didn't tell him to fuck off. I said, I don't give a fuck. There's a difference. I didn't say, like," anyway, she had a go at me. I had a go at her. I was right. We're all trying to sit outside. They relentlessly are kicking this ball about. It was like fucking sitting at the side of like a training ground watching these kids kick a ball about. Yeah, and they had a bit of a falling out. I've not seen them since. I'm definitely an old man. But I won because they've not been playing football since. So
good, yeah. But so she thinks that a 14-year-old kid from Manchester hasn't heard someone say "fuck" before.
Yeah, this is the thing. She tried to make a big deal about it. So so we've nicknamed me and my neighbour. I'm quite good mates with my neighbour, and we've nicknamed the kid Snake.
Snake.
Yeah, snake in the grass. So whenever we see him, we go, "There's a snake there." So yeah, we're gonna try and bully him.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, torture him, make him a statistic.
Yeah, no, we won't. I mean, I think I was in the right, but anyway, we're just trying to enjoy the day.
Yeah, see, what would have been wrong is if they were playing football and you're going, "Guys, you're making a bit of a noise. Stop playing football." But if
it was nothing to do with the noise, it was like it hit my daughter. So it hit my daughter twice. So at the end, by the end, like, she's 10, she was like, I can't sit. I don't want to sit out here anymore.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting hit by the ball. It was just unfortunate that it happened to her twice, They did. So I had to say to them, and I gave them an alternative as well. So I said, can you play over there? Can you go and play over there? But no, they just refused to do it. So
that's it. If it was a complete stray ball, you could forgive them. But if they put the goal in front of your house, it's different, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, and it just all kicked off. I mean, anyway, there we go.
Wonderful.
So so I'm officially an old man.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird how like I get really pissed off about things that I did as a kid.
Yeah, like why are they moaning at me for playing football? And now, like as you're older, you're like, oh, all right, I kind of get it now.
Daft things like I remember playing football in the garden and breaking bits of the fence, and my dad going crazy at me, and I didn't understand it. And like nowadays in my house, every day something's getting broken, and I'm like, that's just
it just pisses you off, like really bad. Like for God's sake, why have you smeared Marmite on the telly?
Yeah. Teddy, Laura, she was a bit tired and stressed, not in a wonderful mood, throwing the Hoover around the downstairs the other day. And she left the house to go and do something. Within 5 minutes, I heard this. What was that? I went in. Teddy had opened a whole tube of those little sprinkles for cupcakes.
Oh no!
All over the floor,
and she's just hoovered up as well.
Yeah, so I'm there with a fucking Hoover, kicking him, punching him with one hand, Hoover in the other. Anyway,
so I'm officially an old man. Also, what I saw this week is on Monday, so it's bank holiday in this country in the UK. Is it in Scotland as well? Not sure.
I think so. Yeah.
So bank holiday in the UK, and on the 27th, which is Monday, it's the cheese rolling competition.
Oh, is it the
Gloucestershire? That's right.
Thing. Yeah.
Wonderful. So if you're interested to get yourself down there,
wonder if it's on telly. See if I can catch it.
I'm sure there'd be like some sort of stream, won't
there? Yeah, I'll get that. So I just watch any of them. It's all the same. Watch one from 5 years ago. Pretend it's the.
Yeah.
I don't really know what's going on.
Right. So I think that's this week's roundup, I guess. All right, Fraser. So I think we should do the socials right now before we go any further.
Well, I think we need to always do the socials because we're growing. I remember I said we'd lost a couple of Spotify followers. We're back. Yeah, I know. Back up again.
Oh God!
So either they felt guilty or new people have followed us. So, listens are up. They're always up, which is good. But they're only up a little bit. So, please, if you can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and we're not on Twitter.
No, we don't want to be on there. It's a fucking shit show,
grim, isn't it?
It's grim. We don't want to be on that.
Yeah, don't look for us on Twitter.
Don't even go on it.
I know. Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, they're all under the Most Dangerous Podcast. You'll find us. You know what?
Check it out.
Like. Yeah, and just share us with your friends. See what you can do. Get us a few more listeners if you like it. Another thing that's worth doing on whatever platform you listen to it on, set it to automatically download so that as soon as the episode comes out, downloads it onto your phone. And then if you're out of signal or anything like that, you can still listen to us.
Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently, do that.
That's it. Makes me really happy on a Sunday night when I see the figures going up. So, but I'm going to give out the email address, and I'll tell you why, James. The email address is jamesandfraserpod@gmail.com. And I'm making a point of that because we had an email from someone.
No, we didn't.
We did.
Really?
I mean, we get the odd email, but it's usually shite. This was quite an interesting email.
You owe us some money.
Yeah. I had one. Do you want promotion on Apple Podcasts? But they'd spell Apple, Appel, with no capital A. And I thought, delete.
Not from you, pal.
Not reading anymore. But I had an email from a chap called Sean in Nottingham.
Sean. Hello, Sean.
Hello, Sean. Yeah, thanks for listening. I hope you're automatically downloading us on a Sunday night. So Sean from Nottingham emailed us. So he says, Dear James, that annoyed me a little bit.
Oh, it's for me. Hi, Sean. Thank you.
James. Yeah.
The most important person in this podcast.
I know. Yeah. I'm the one that does all the emails and socials and everything, but never mind.
I'm the one that receives the glory.
Yeah. It says, Dear James, I've been listening to your podcast since I stumbled upon it a couple of months ago with the Medusa episode. I've since gone back through your older episodes and love what you guys do. I was wondering, however, if you took requests / recommendations. I read a story about a guy called Peter Freuchen, I'm going to say, who was an Arctic explorer, and I'd love to hear your take on his story. Here's a bit I read that I thought was fascinating. So he's put a little bit about this guy's story.
Oh, yeah.
So, you ready?
Yeah, go for it.
This is what Sean from Nottingham sent in. Peter Freuchen, a seasoned Arctic explorer, found himself in a bit of a pickle, or rather an icebox. While out hunting seals in Greenland, a blizzard ambushed him, and he sought refuge in a small crevice. But the storm's fury sealed him in tight with a thick layer of ice.
Oh.
Peter quickly realised his predicament: no tools, no help, and no way out. And that's when an idea, as bizarre as it was, brilliant, struck him. Recalling an old survival trick, he decided to turn his poo into a tool. Yes, you read that right.
A poo tool.
Yep. With no time to waste, Peter did his business, fashioning the feces into a rudimentary chisel. He placed it carefully aside, letting the Arctic chill do its thing. As he waited for it to freeze, he couldn't help but laugh at the sheer absurdity of the situation. Here he was, an experienced explorer relying on a frozen turd to save his life. Once solid, the poo chisel was ready for action. Peter began chipping away at the ice with surprising effectiveness. Each strike broke off small chunks of his icy prison, proving that necessity is indeed the mother of invention, or in this case, the father of frozen feces chisels. After hours of determined chipping, he finally broke through, emerging into the open. Peter was exhausted but victorious. He trudged back to camp, chuckling at the thought of how his escape would go down in history. He had outsmarted the Arctic with nothing but sheer willpower and a frozen piece of poo. And then Sean finishes with, I'm sure you'll like the story, and maybe one day you'll do it for me. Thanks, guys. Keep them coming. Sean in Nottingham.
Well, Sean, no, we don't do requests, and certainly not ones involving poo. So thank you for your suggestion.
But I'll be honest with you, I thought, right, if that's a little snippet of this guy's story, I thought this guy sounds quite interesting. I'm going to read about him. But that was the most interesting bit of his life, I'll be honest with you.
Well, exactly. He's just basically just told us the story. Yeah, thanks, Sean. I appreciate it. I mean, maybe if we...
I don't think we'll do a podcast on the guy, but it made me think that I'd quite like to invite people, if you've got little stories like that, little interesting, dangerous stories, send them in. We'll read them out.
It'd be better if you've got your own personal story though.
Yeah, personal stories.
If you've got your own personal, maybe you've had some sort of weird experience, or you've been in some sort of dangerous thing. Like I remember when I went to Menai in year 7, went canoeing, and I remember Gavin, I can't remember his surname.
Big Gav?
No, another Gavin. He capsized in his kayak because we were doing canoeing.
Yeah,
and he couldn't get out of it, and it was yeah, I know, it's really scary. And in the end, I can't remember. He just got out of it in the end, but it was scary. It was scary at the time. So yeah, stuff like that. If you've got your own sort of terrifying experience, maybe it might be a bit supernatural, a bit paranormal, or just something that's happened to you, where you've been in a dangerous circuit. Maybe people in America where people have broken into their homes with guns and stuff. I don't know. Cool. That'd be better than just someone going, I've heard about this guy.
Yeah, making a poo chisel. But yeah, send us in your dangerous stories and we'll feature them on the show.
Yeah, no, appreciate it, Sean from Nottingham. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you very much, Sean. I suppose that moves us on to dangerous news.
Thanks, James. So, dangerous news this week. I'll be honest, I've got 2 stories and a little 2.5.
Cool.
Because I got them ready for last week and then I used one of them last week.
Oh, which one
And
did
then
you use last week?
about the having to boil the water because it was
Right.
giving you the shits.
Yeah, which turned into like a rant about government policy. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've kind of spent this week thinking that I've got my dangerous news, and I actually haven't,
That's
because
all right.
one of them I used. But
Yeah.
I've got a wee funny thing at the end. So the first one is in Mexico, and I saw this it was the Mirror. So a bizarre altercation in Morelia, Mexico, saw a fire breather fend off a mariachi band in a heated dispute over a lucrative street corner.
Literally heated.
Yeah. The incident, captured on security footage, began when a mariachi chased the fire breather, putting him in a headlock and punching him repeatedly. This skirmish brought traffic to a halt on the busy street as the fire breather was assaulted by 5 band members in front of a taco restaurant, aptly named El Inferno.
Wow.
Despite the initial assault, the fire breather turned the tables by setting several mariachis on fire. The musicians, dressed in traditional attire, fled in panic, some ablaze. They quickly discarded their burning clothes, with one even rolling on the ground to extinguish the flames. None of the mariachis returned to the fight. So that he was just fighting himself then.
It's just what was the reason for the fight?
They were feuding over basically like a busking spot.
We'll see. Right,
yes,
okay.
they both wanted to busk in the same spot.
Yeah.
So it says the
No.
yeah. But surely, if he was breathing fire while they were playing music, that would have looked quite cool.
Yeah. No.
The big sombreros on fire. The altercation is believed to have stemmed from competition over the prime location. There you go. Which performers and windshield washers fiercely defend to secure tips. Violent confrontations over such spots are not uncommon in Mexico cities, where firearms have sometimes been used in disputes.
Jesus, alright.
I'm not being funny. If you can afford a gun, surely you don't need to be begging on street corners.
They're not begging, are they? Performing a service.
Busking, yeah, I suppose so. It was like that bitch. You know, that video I sent you? That really fucking annoyed me.
Yeah, it annoyed me as well. It's like, why are you begging? I'm not. I'm just playing the tune.
Just for the listeners, there was a little video of a girl playing a harp in a street for money. Well, not for money. She's not charging anyone, but people can leave a donation, a tip.
Donation, yeah, like if you want to.
And some old cow's like, you're begging in the street. You shouldn't be begging in the street. So I'm not begging. Yeah. But she just went on and on and on at her.
It was awful. That I felt sorry, but she was just laughing though. It's kind of cool. Like,
yeah.
I was like, I like you. You're cool.
She looked like it wasn't the first time.
Yeah. She didn't lose. She was just like didn't lose her head, and she was like, I'm not begging. Like you can. I think she had like a card machine as well, which like really got the other Karens back up. Like it's like why are you doing this? It's ridiculous. Like I like when you go down the high street and there's someone playing the tune or whatever, and it's good.
Yeah,
but that's good. I like that.
I know it's nice.
It's nice.
And the card machine, that often I would say, do you know what? I'd leave him a couple of quid, but I haven't got anything in my pocket. So the card machine, you just tap your card.
That's the way it works. Well, thanks for playing your good tunes. And then this woman, this obviously like pensioner, like, why are you begging on our street? I'm going to report you to the council. Go on then.
Incidentally, our window cleaner came to the door a couple of days ago, and he was like, "Oh, you need to pay the window cleaning. It's 14 quid." So I haven't got any cash on you, mate. On me, mate. He goes, "It's all right. I've got a card machine." Oh, fuck. Go and get my card.
No one's carries cash anymore, do they? Really?
Oh, I know. So story 2 is titled "Cow Cuddle." A 1-hour cow cuddle can pay for a bale of hay, but officials are mooing warnings after a bird flu outbreak hit dairy herds in 9 US states. Emma Myers, seen cuddling cows and goats at Luz Farms in Illinois, is part of a booming cow cuddling trend. This social media fueled phenomenon helps small farmers cover feed bills and provides therapeutic benefits to visitors. So people are going to cuddle cows for an hour.
Give a cow a cuddle, yeah. Well, I've said on a previous episode how much I buzz off cows, so that'd work for me.
Maury likes cows.
Yep, we know.
But however, the joy of cow cuddling is under threat. Bird flu has been confirmed among dairy herds in 9 states, and scientists fear it might be even more widespread across the US's 26,000 licensed dairy farms.
Bird flu?
Bird flu, yeah.
Not, how does that work though? Because it's bird flu, not like bovine flu.
I think it's just it can pass through animals.
So like, other animals can get bird flu, even though it's called bird flu.
Yes, yeah. I don't know if they can get it, but it can pass through birds, because I remember when we had our chickens, you had to be really careful with the bird flu. Obviously, they're chickens, but it wasn't necessarily passed from bird to bird. It was mice getting into the chicken pen can carry the bird flu onto the chickens and stuff like that, yeah. But yeah, there's not much more interesting stuff about that story, but it's
just don't cuddle a cow because you might get bird flu.
That's it. So my last wee story was just something I looked up about 5 minutes before we came on, and it's actually made the headline news. Have you seen the price of a pint at the Darts?
At the Dart, no. I mean, the price of a pint in a pub at the moment. Well, I remember buying a pint for like $1.99, I think, maybe less. I think at one point we were buying like a pint of Worthingtons for like, I mean, it was a long time ago. For like $1.50 maybe.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, well, we're talking 20 odd years ago now. But if you go to a pub these days, it's a £5 minimum, I'd say. Unless you're buying the piss, like Carlin or whatever.
Yeah. Well, the cheapest pint at the Premier League Darts now has risen to the cheapest ones for Budweiser, Stella, and Camden Stout start at $8.95 a pint.
$8.95.
Wow. The more premium beers are $9.25 and $9.50.
Yeah, I suppose that's the way it's going though. Like, it's like if you go to like gigs or whatever, you do charge a premium. The bet they're in like plastic cups as well.
Yeah, you can actually buy a 2-pint cup that's like 18 quid.
18, shit.
Yeah. Imagine spilling it.
Yeah,
someone knocks you on your way back.
Yeah, just smuggle your own stuff in, don't you?
Yeah. So, yeah, it was just a little third story. Dangerous. It's dangerous how much a pint is now.
It really is, though. I mean, surely, like, the pub used to be like an institution, didn't it? It'd be like where people, Friday night, you go and just chill out with your mates and stuff. I mean, it doesn't really happen when you grow a bit older and have kids and stuff. But even now, like, if going out is like, I don't go out very often. But when I do, I'm thinking it's going to be 100 quid.
Yeah.
It's for a night out, and that's not going after hours really, mate. Because like pubs stay open quite late these days, so you're talking like maybe till 1 o'clock. It's going to be 50, 60, 70, maybe 100, depending how rowdy it gets. If you get shots or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's a bit sad really. It used to be I'll just pop down for a few pints, maybe go out with a £5, come back with change.
But it used to be the poorer working man's thing, wasn't it? Smoking and going for a pint.
Yeah,
and they can't afford to do either now.
Yeah, so you just sit in and like it's weird. Like a bottle of like wine or whatever in Tesco's is like £8.
Yeah,
but then a glass of wine in a pub is £7 or something. It's just it's weird. Yeah, something needs to change there. I think if they want to keep this thing going.
So that was my dangerous news anyway.
Brilliant. Okay, well that's this week's dangerous news.
So that was the dangerous news, but we're all waiting to see what your story's going to be this week, James. Now I know you've told me to listen to a song.
That's right.
Bob Geldof song. What was the band called?
The Boomtown Rats.
Boomtown Rats. That was it. I actually saw the song played live by Bob Geldof at a rock and blues festival many years ago. Yeah, where I was totally out of my zone. I was a wee skinny guy wearing normal clothes in amongst a load of bikers, big hairy arse tattooed guys. I was offered cocaine off the blade of a flick knife and stuff like that, and I actually had a really good time. They're all lovely guys, but yeah, it was. Do you remember Creepy Kev?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I went with him, and I actually vomited under the what's the thing at the bottom of your tent? Ground sheet.
Oh, nice.
You had to buy beer 4 cans at a time. And the first night I got back to my little 2-man tent myself, felt really, really sick, lifted the ground sheet up and vomited on the ground sheet and put it back down. So the next day, it was the summer. So the next day, the sun beat down on my tent
Stinking.
all day. When I got back that night, I was like,
rock and roll, man, rock and roll. Yeah, I was never a big fan of the Boomtown Rats. And to be fair, I'm not a big fan of Bob Geldof either. He's
No.
like lived off that tune for his life.
Yeah.
But yeah, the reason I told you about it and I asked you to listen to it is because there is a narrative that runs through that tune,
Mm-hmm.
and it's based on a young girl called Brenda Spencer.
Right.
So what I'm going to talk about today is Brenda Spencer.
Excellent. Let's go.
Okay. On January 29, 1979, the quiet town of San Diego, California was thrust into chaos when Brenda Spencer, a troubled teenager, opened fire on Cleveland Elementary School. Today, we unravel the chilling tale of Brenda, a name etched into infamy for a school shooting that shocked the world. Brenda Ann Spencer was born April 3rd, 1962, to Dorothy Nadine and Wallace Edward Spencer. They had 3 children, Brenda being the youngest. After finding out her husband had been cheating on her with multiple women, Dorothy filed for divorce in January 1972 when Brenda was 10. After her parents separated, Brenda allegedly lived in poverty with her father in a property across the street from Cleveland Elementary School in San Diego. Both slept on a single mattress on the living room floor in a filthy house strewn with empty bottles and rubbish. At later parole hearings, she claimed to have been subject to total neglect from her mother and from sexual abuse from her father. The accusations, however, have been disputed by the respective parents and have never been proven. Although Brenda showed ability as a photographer, winning first prize in a local competition for the Humane Society, she was generally uninterested in school. She attended Patrick Henry High School, where one teacher recalled frequently inquiring if she was awake in class. Acquaintances said Brenda, while growing up, expressed hostility towards policemen and spoke about shooting one, and had talked about doing something big to get on television. Brenda described herself as radical and referred to policemen as pigs, exclaiming, "All right," when seeing the news on TV about cops being killed, and often talking about wanting to kill cops or blow them away.
Bloody hell.
Some classmates described her as crazy and reported being scared of her. In 1978, Brenda was referred to a facility for problem students. The reason stated is for persistent truancy. Her parents were informed by staff that she was suicidal. That summer, Brenda, who was known to hunt birds in the neighbourhood, was arrested for shooting out windows in the Grove Cleveland Elementary with a BB gun, and also for burglary.
What age was she by this point?
So 1978, so
16
roughly.
Right, yeah. Okay.
In December of that year, a psychiatric evaluation arranged by her probation officer recommended that Spencer be admitted to a mental hospital for depression. Her father, however, refused to give permission. And then, on Christmas 1978, her father gave her a semi-automatic rifle with a telescopic sight and 500 rounds of ammunition as a gift.
That shouldn't be funny, but
No,
Jesus Christ.
I know, like, I've got in my notes, like, what the fuck here, right?
Yeah.
So we've got this girl who's clearly, like, traumatized, like, for whatever reason. Like, there's been, disruption in the family unit. She's reportedly unhappy, or she lives in poverty. There's doctors saying to the parents, No, she's depressed and suicidal, and her dad's gone, what do you want for Christmas? Here's a gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Just mental. Like, I mean, Brenda was asked later about the gift, and she said, and this is a quote, "I asked for a radio and got a rifle." And then she was asked why did she think that happened, and she answered, "He bought me a rifle so that I would kill myself."
Right. 500 times.
Well, you might miss.
True. Yeah. Miss for
So,
the first 499.
yeah, I mean that she's obviously got some issues, hasn't she? And
I'd say so, yeah.
Whether there's neglect or not is up for debate, I suppose. But I just don't understand that rationale to buy somebody a gun. I get, like, we live in the UK, the laws and the rules are different in America, but
yeah.
Nevertheless, if my daughter said to me, or a doctor said to me, my daughter's depressed, regardless of where I lived, I don't think I'd buy her a gun.
No, it's probably a bad idea. I saw a Canadian guy. He was a warm-up act for Frankie Boyle, and he was talking about there was a shooting in America where two guys were on a rooftop, try and keep it short, shooting automatic weapons down into a crowd. And because of where they were, it was very difficult for the police to get them, and eventually they got them. But it turned out that was in like the evening, and earlier that day, the police had stopped these two guys in their car and searched their car. And in the boot, they found like 2 AK-47s, all these armor-piercing rounds, a couple of other automatic rifles. And the reason that nothing was done at that point was none of that was actually illegal for them to be carrying in the boot of their car.
No, that's the thing. You can just buy whatever you want. Like, I think there are restrictions. You can't buy a bazooka, for example, but AK-47s, go for it. Go for your life.
I think since that incident, things have changed a little bit. But yeah, you can have automatic rifles and everything. And
yeah, I mean, I don't really want this to be a debate about whether people who live in the USA should have have guns or whatever. I just don't think it's worth going down that road, because I think it's never going to be resolved. That they have this is it the Second Amendment or something, the right to sort of protect your bare arms or whatever it is.
Yeah,
that's some people think it's right, some people think it's not. I met a friend of mine, actually, his sister went to live in America, the USA, and she said to him, "Well, I think I'm going to get a gun. It's just so I can protect myself if anyone breaks into my house."
Yeah.
And his response to her was, "Well, if you get a gun, then you've got to be prepared to fire it. It's all very well having a gun, but would you be prepared to shoot somebody?"
Yeah.
I suppose, that's very philosophical. It's for another day. I mean, Anyway, back to this. So his dad bought her a gun for some unknown reason.
Yeah.
On the Christmas of 1978. Okay. So just a few short weeks later, on the morning of Monday, January 29th, 1979, aiming for the children who were waiting for 53-year-old Principal Burton Ragg to open the gates to the school opposite, Brenda opened fire from her house.
Jesus.
She injured 8 children, and she began with 9-year-old Cam Miller, since she was wearing Brenda's favourite colour, blue. Brenda shot and killed Ragg as he and the teacher, Darrell Barnes, tried to help the children. She also killed 56-year-old custodian Mike Shaw as he tried to pull the students to safety.
Oh dear.
A 28-year-old police officer, Robert Robb, was wounded in the neck as he arrived on the scene. That's a bit like The Shining, that, he just turns up like
yeah,
shot straight up.
So she didn't kill any of the children?
No, she didn't, thankfully.
Oh, yeah.
Further casualties were avoided only because the police obstructed her line of firing by moving a bin lorry, or a garbage truck, if you're from America.
Garbage truck.
In front of the school entrance.
Mm-hmm.
After firing 36 times, Brenda barricaded herself inside her home for several hours. Whilst they were there, she spoke by telephone to reporters from the Evening Tribune and was asked why she'd done this awful deed. And Brenda said, "I don't like Mondays."
Jesus.
Now, the actual quote is, "I don't like Mondays. This brightens up the day." But from the the song. I don't know if we can post this. I don't think we can play the song on the podcast. I think we'll get like copyright struck, but maybe you can put it on this.
Got a link to it, a Spotify link or something.
Yeah. So the basic thing is I don't like Mondays.
Listeners, just look up "I Don't Like Mondays" by the Boomtown Rats.
Yeah,
listen to it.
So that's where this comes from.
There we go.
She also told police negotiators that the children and adults whom she had shot were easy targets, and that she was going to come out of a house shooting. Ultimately, though, after a number of hours, she surrendered and left the house, reportedly after being promised a Burger King. It's fucking crazy, isn't it?
What is it you want? A helicopter? Not just
a Whopper.
Yeah, I was going to say, I couldn't remember what the Burger King burgers were. Whopper. I had that one that was like, I had one recently. I got a Burger King cheeseburger. It was much smaller than my hand. It was tiny.
Yeah, like everything's smaller though. Like I got a Big Mac the other day and it was like tiny. I was like, I ate it like 2 bites.
Little Big Mac.
Yeah, it's just really small, really frustrating. Well, I do prefer Burger King, but they're few and far between. Like Burger Kings make me think of like train stations and airports.
Yeah,
because that's like the only place you ever get them.
They have opened quite a posh, big new one in Chester.
Have they?
Just built it, yeah.
Oh, well, I might be over in a few weeks. So I might
next door to McDonald's.
Oh, for real? I do like Burger King. Like the Whopper is a good burger, and the Rodeo Burger is a good one.
It all seems a bit fresher. It's nicer. But we had too much McDonald's over the weekend at that cheer competition because you're just rushing about and it's convenient.
It's such a rip-off McDonald's though. Like,
I'm 40 quid now, my family.
Yeah, I know. Like you used to be able to get like a meal deal or whatever they're called, like a save a meal. It's like £2.80 or something. And now it's like £6.50 and it's only like a burger and some like sloppy flat fries, like limp fries.
I remember I mentioned something to Laura that involved me and you when we were young, and we used to go into Chester and I'd get us a McDonald's, but I'd only buy myself a cheeseburger and I'd get you a hamburger because it was cheaper. And I felt really guilty about that the other day.
I don't remember that. Why would you buy me a burger?
I don't know. I remember being at McDonald's in Chester and I was like, no, the hamburger's yours, the cheeseburger's 10p more.
Is this like one time or a regular thing?
I felt like I did it more than once, but I thought, what a
burger
fucking mangy bastard. Why didn't I just pay the extra 10p and get you a cheeseburger?
Makes me sound dead cheap though. Why didn't I have like £1 for a burger?
I don't know. That was when it was 49p for a hamburger and 59 for a cheeseburger.
Oh yeah, right. Anyway, what are we talking about? We're talking about like... So anyway, right, okay. So police officers, when they arrested, they found beer and whiskey bottles cluttered around the house. But they did say that Brenda did not appear to be intoxicated when she was arrested. Right. Okay.
It sounds like quite a measured decision she made, though. It doesn't sound like something she did drunk. It sounds like something she's thought about.
She's made a conscious decision here. Just to, like, she's obviously got some stuff going on there. In her mind. So Brenda Spencer, she was charged as an adult. She pleaded guilty to 2 counts of murder because she killed the 2 grown men. Fortunately, she didn't kill any children. She pleaded 2 counts of murder and assault with a deadly weapon. And on April 4th, 1980, the day after her 18th birthday, she was sentenced to concurrent terms of 25 years to life imprisonment.
Wow.
So I don't know what this means really. Excuse me. Like American sentencing is a bit all over the place. So from what I read, it's 25 years to life, right?
Yeah.
But under the terms of her sentencing, Brenda became eligible for a hearing to consider her suitability for parole in 1993.
Right.
So that's only 13 years after she's been put in prison. So I don't know whether there's some sort of like plea deal. So like, you plead guilty.
Isn't it sometimes that once you get halfway through your sentence, you could be eligible for parole if they think you're safe to go out, but you'll still spend the rest of your sentence being monitored?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, maybe. So it's 25 minimum, life maximum. Half of that. After half of that, you can be.
And the concurrent means that the sentences run at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas consecutive means once you've done 25 years for him, you're doing 25 years for them.
Yeah.
Next.
Okay. Yeah. So in 1993, she was up for parole.
Mm-hmm.
At her first hearing in 1993, Brenda said that she had hoped that the police would shoot her, and that she had been under the influence of alcohol and drugs at the time. Although the results of drug tests that were done when she was taken into custody were negative.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This didn't work, and she stayed in prison. She tried again for parole in 2001. Here, Brenda claimed that her father had been abusing her, beating her and sexually abusing her.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, he said the allegations weren't true.
Yeah.
The parole board chairman said that she'd not told anyone about this previously. Where's this come from all of a sudden?
Yeah.
He doubted that they were true, so her parole was rejected on that in 2001 as well.
Mm-hmm.
So in 2005, San Diego Deputy District Attorney cited an incident of self-harm 4 years earlier,
Mm-hmm.
which showed, and he said that it showed that Brenda was psychotic and unfit for release.
Right. I mean, anyone that obviously shoots guns at kids and stuff, they're dangerous, but it does sound like she had a lot of things causing that in her head.
Yeah. So we're up to
She hasn't had a very good
2005
life.
now. Yeah. So the District Attorney are reporting that in 2001, maybe after the parole hearing, that she self-harmed. Early reports indicated that Brenda had scratched the words "courage" and "pride" into her own arm.
Right.
But then Spencer corrected that and said, actually, no, it was "unforgiven and alone."
Right. Yeah.
So suggests that she perhaps did self-harm.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think self-harm necessarily means that you're unstable.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, she did try and shoot kids. So,
Yeah.
In 2009, the board again refused her application for parole, and they said it would be 10 years before she could be considered again.
Right.
In August 2022, Spencer again went for parole, and the Board of Parole said that she was not suitable for release, and that she would be eligible for another hearing in another 3 years.
Right.
So that was 2022.
Yes, that's 2025 next year.
Yes. So to this day, so she's now age 62.
Mm-hmm.
So she went to prison the day after she was 18. So that's 45 years after the event.
Wow.
So she remains imprisoned in the California Institute for Women in Chino. Her next parole hearing is scheduled for some point in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 45 years she spent inside.
Which is really sad, because I think that what she's done has been caused by other people.
Yeah. I mean, Mondays are really shit. I mean,
yeah,
they're not that shit, are they?
No.
I mean, I don't think there should be any sympathy here for what she's done. Like, don't get me wrong.
There's no sympathy for what she's done, but the sympathy
do think
for
there is that's the whole point of the prison system, isn't there?
Yeah.
So that you can kind of what's the word for it? Rehabilitate, exactly. That's what I was looking for. That what's the point of having a prison system if you can't rehabilitate the prisoners? And 45 years, she's now 62.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's mad, isn't it?
She probably didn't need 45 years in prison. She probably needed some serious psychological help and understanding and stuff like that. And probably also, yeah, I mean, she also needed some jail time because of what she did. But I don't think that, it's not saying she's not a danger to society, because she obviously is, but she needs to understand what happened to her in her life and made her like that in the first place.
She did kill 2 people, though.
Well, yeah.
So, she did kill. She is actually a murderer.
Yeah.
But it's like she was sick. Do you remember what you were like when you were 16? I didn't know what fucking day of the week it was most of the time.
Yeah.
Like in my head was all over the place when I was 16. So I don't know whether that kind of gives her not a bit of a pass, but it's been a long time. She spent a long time. But then saying that as well, like if you spend that much time in prison, to come out be such a shock to the system.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anything else. Like, what's she supposed to do then? Anyway, so the aftermath of the tragedy. Well, yeah, tragedy, because obviously people died.
Yeah.
A plaque and a flagpole were erect at Cleveland Elementary in memory of the shooting victims, but the school was closed in 1983.
Right.
In the ensuing decades, it was leased to several charter and private schools. So from 2005 and 2017, it housed the Magnolia Science Academy. In 2018, the school was demolished to construct a housing development, and a plaque was relocated to the former school's southern edge at the corner of Lake Atlin Avenue and Lake Angela Drive.
Right.
If you ever want to go there.
It's not really a good place to buy a house, is it?
A
lot of people were shot.
Well, just 2 people. It's fine.
Yeah.
In the months that followed the shooting, one of Brenda Spencer's first cellmates, a 17-year-old girl, moved in with Spencer's father, once she was released, and eventually married him on March 26th, 1980.
That's a bit weird.
Yeah, they had a daughter together, after which she fled the household and eventually divorced, leaving Wallace Spencer to raise the daughter alone. Wallace Spencer died in February 2016. Obviously, Wallace Spencer being her dad.
So he had another daughter that he was raising on his own?
Yeah, he had a daughter with a 17-year-old girl who was Brenda Spencer's cellmate.
Mental. And did that daughter ever suggest that she was abused?
No, not that I've read or heard of.
Right, okay.
And then just finally, so as we discussed, Bob Geldof, the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats, he read about the incident. He was particularly struck by Spencer's claim that she did it because she didn't like Mondays, and began writing a song called I Don't Like Mondays. The song was released in July 1979. It was number 1 for 4 weeks in the United Kingdom, and was the band's biggest ever hit, and also a huge hit in the native island.
Yeah.
Although it didn't make the top 40 in the USA, it still received extensive radio airplay. Geldof later claimed that Brenda Spencer wrote to him, saying she was glad that she'd done it because it made her famous, although Brenda Spencer denies ever contacting Geldof.
Right, okay.
And finally, on July 17th, 1989, almost 10 years after the events at San Diego Grove Cleveland Elementary, there was actually another shooting at a school which was coincidentally named Grove Cleveland Elementary.
Wow.
Only this one was in Stockton, California. 5 students were killed and 30 were injured.
Mental.
Yeah, and as we know, school shootings in the USA unfortunately do still continue to this day.
Yes, yeah, it's something that's baffled me, the motivation to go in and shoot a load of kids.
It does scare me. I mean, at one point in my life, I was thinking about emigrating over there and perhaps looking at work over there, and it is certainly, it's such a vast country, right? And I think we've confused ourselves a little bit, because we look at it and go, America, it's like Britain, but then it's bigger than Europe.
Yeah.
If you think about it. So at one point I was thinking, I wouldn't mind moving over there, maybe going as you know, I'm a lawyer, and I was thinking maybe I can go over there and maybe do a bar exam and stuff a long time ago. But then that was one thing that kind of put me off the gun thing and the gun culture and the school shootings. But then in retrospect, in the reality of things, this country is bigger than Europe. So it's kind of like saying, well, out of all of Europe, these things happen. It's kind of like going, oh, well, in I don't know, Estonia, there's been a shooting in a school in Estonia, or there's been a shooting in a school in Germany, or
I'm not moving to Europe.
Yeah, and you put it as because it's the USA, you put it as a collective thing, whereas
the thing is, there's been incidents in school in the UK. There was obviously Dunblane, and I know that there's been a couple other ones. I can't think of them just now. But proportionately, the number of schools we've got next to the number of schools America's got, we could actually be just as bad.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Proportionally, because they've got 100 times more schools than us. So,
Yeah.
but
Well,
it's
precisely, yeah. It's like you look at it proportionally, like you have to look at Europe because that's the
yeah.
size of the thing. Like Texas, for example, is like it's bigger than Germany, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like that's just one state. So it's
Well,
hard to like. I think we have this kind of sort of tunnel vision thing where we look at the USA and go, "Well, it wouldn't happen here."
big country. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like but it's not. It doesn't fit
That
doesn't fit it because it's huge.
yeah. That little willy that hangs off, that's Florida. Little willy bit.
Yeah,
The UK would fit in there.
yeah, exactly. It's such a vast country. Like like we just hear about the bad things. I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
and I don't think that should take away anything away from like what we've both been, and it's a great place. Like so.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place. I think that like planes crash. That doesn't mean that you never get on a plane again and things like that. You've just got to, when your time's your time. I don't think I wouldn't not move to America because of school shootings.
Yeah, absolutely. But so yeah, I mean, yeah. Sorry, it's a bit lethargic this week. I do apologise. I'm not feeling too great.
No, I didn't know the story at all, to be honest.
Yeah, well, that's Brenda and Spencer.
Yeah.
So listen to the song. It's a good song actually. I don't like the Boomtown Rats. I don't like Bob Geldof, but it's not a bad song. But so now you know where that song originates from and the reason behind it.
I just thought he hated fucking Mondays.
Don't we all? Don't we all?
I don't mind on Monday actually.
Don't you?
No,
fucking
I
hate
don't
Mondays.
mind it. It's like Tuesdays and Wednesdays I hate. I don't mind Monday because I'm sort of ready to start the week again. It's like a Tuesday. Tuesday's like, fuck, I'm already into it. I'm already sore from a Monday, but Friday's miles away. And
Monday, I don't like Mondays.
Mhm.
And I don't like Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Wednesdays are like a nothing day. 'Cause it's like you got 2 days at the start of the week, 2 days at the end of the week, and then you just got this fucking annoying little bastard right in the middle.
Yeah, Wednesdays. My actual worst time of the week is probably a Sunday from 4 p.m.
Oh yeah, I get the dread then.
Just at least on a Monday you're in it and you've started it. It's that
No going
even
back.
as a little kid, that heartbeat. Do, 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 do. Oh shit! It's fucking school tomorrow.
Have you got any homework? No.
Oh. You're sitting full of roast dinner, heartbeats on the telly, and you just, oh, fuck, that's the weekend done.
That's it, done, yeah.
Back in school tomorrow. Shit.
Oh,
Yeah, like I said, Monday, once you're up and you're in, it's all right.
Yeah, it's the up and the in that I struggle with.
Yeah. But doing what I do now, because I'm completely my own boss and no one can basically fuck me over and give me like shit jobs to do or anything, I just, I plan my Mondays.
Just don't go in till midday.
But I know what I'm doing and I like what I'm doing now. I like my job. I like going and fitting my shutters, doing what I do. So I don't really have that work dread anymore, to be honest.
That's good. I need to figure out a way of sorting that out for myself.
Yeah.
Right, I think we'll knock it on the head. Right.
Yeah, it was excellent. So
call it a night.
Thanks for your story, James. Like I said, I'd never heard that story, so it's really interesting because what I kind of quite like about it. That's a terrible thing to say. There's nothing to like about a school shooting. Quite often, it's like mental students that go back to their own schools and stuff like that. Whereas this was a little bit different. First of all, it was a girl.
There's no real reason this happened. Was she abused? Maybe not. Mm-hmm. There's no evidence to suggest. It just seems like maybe she's a bit of a psycho.
Yeah.
She's applied for parole. She's been refused more than once. Maybe she's just a nutter.
I do think that there's too many people in prison that just actually need help in a different way. They don't need necessarily punishing for what they did. They do, but not just stuck away for 45 years because they might as well have just executed her.
Yeah, maybe. But then would you be saying a different thing if that was your dad or your brother? Or
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But you can't look at something rational if it's your own family that's hurt.
Yeah, absolutely, of course.
All right. Well, thanks very much, James.
Yeah, no worries. Always a pleasure, never a chore, as usual. Like I say, I'm sorry, a bit lethargic, a bit tired. As I mentioned before, I've not been too well. As per usual, I feel like I'm just like old, getting old. That's what it is.
Too much cheese and red wine.
That's it. Yeah.
Right. I'll speak to you next week.
I bid you farewell, and I'll speak to you next week.
Thanks.
And that's been the Most Dangerous Podcast. Thanks for listening, everybody. Have a good week.
Cheers, James. See you now.
Shut up, Nottingham.